All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are tackling something huge. We're completely demystifying how certain people manage to consistently keep the promises they make to themselves, while, let's be honest, the rest of us just hit the snooze button for the third time. If you've ever watched someone train in the freezing rain or study relentlessly while everyone else is out having a good time and thought, how on earth do they do that? Well, you're in the right place. We're going to break down the actual psychology behind self-control using some really incredible insights from our source material today.
So what if I told you that self-discipline has absolutely nothing to do with motivation? Seriously, think about that for a second. Most of us carry around this massive assumption that highly disciplined people just have naturally stronger willpower, right? Like they have some magical genetic trait that makes hard work a breeze. But our source material makes it incredibly clear that is completely wrong. Relying on sheer willpower is a losing game.
The absolute crucial point here is this. Discipline is not a personality trait. It's really not something you're just born with or without. It's actually a structural psychological system that your brain can learn. It's like a mental framework, and anyone, and I mean anyone, can build it. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly how to build this exact system for yourself.
Okay, let's jump right into part 1, the motivation myth.
Waiting around for a sudden lightning strike of emotional inspiration to get to work, that is a guaranteed trap. Just think about the last time you bought a new gym membership. Day one feels absolutely amazing. But here's the catch. Motivation is entirely emotional. And because it's emotional, it's super fickle. It changes every single day. Some mornings you wake up feeling like you can literally conquer the world, and other mornings you don't even want to pull the covers off. If you rely on that emotional high, your success is going to be completely random. Discipline, on the other hand, is behavioral. Highly disciplined people don't wake up magically inspired, they just wake up committed, completely regardless of how they happen to feel that day. So instead of waking up and asking the very emotional question, do I feel like doing this today? Disciplined people ask a much more strategic question. What does my future self need me to do today? That single, powerful little shift changes everything. It totally removes the fleeting emotion from the equation and focuses purely on the required action. Which leads us perfectly into part 2, the evolutionary brain trap. Now, if you have ever felt intensely guilty for procrastinating, you really need to hear this. Let me let you in on a secret. Your brain isn't broken. It really isn't. It's just a bit outdated. See, thousands of years ago, in a primitive world, survival meant conserving your energy. Finding food took massive effort, and danger was literally everywhere. So your brain actually rewarded you for doing nothing and hoarding your calories. But today, we live in a modern world with unlimited food, absolute comfort, and endless entertainment. The problem is, your brain hasn't adapted to this rapid shift. So every time you choose difficult work, your primitive brain still hits the panic button and sees it as a threat to your energy reserves. And because of that old school wiring, modern apps completely hijack our brains. Just one mindless swipe triggers a notification, instantly delivering this massive spike of really cheap dopamine. And it definitely doesn't stop with our phones. We've got comfort food, endless streaming, 24/7 digital stimulation. Your brain is literally being trained to expect instant, effortless rewards all the time. And the direct result? Your attention span shrinks. Suddenly, doing real work, like studying, reading a book, or going for a run, feels utterly impossible because it just doesn't offer that same instant hit. To actually fix this, we have to be super intentional about shifting away from easy dopamine over to meaningful dopamine. Dopamine isn't just the pleasure molecule, it's actually the molecule of anticipation and drive. By actively cutting down on the cheap thrills, like endless doom scrolling and junk food, and ramping up activities like learning, creating, or exercising, you actually begin to slowly reset your brain. You're training yourself to find that deep drive in the effort itself, not just the instant reward. All right, moving right along to part 3, the identity effect. We are making a shift from biology over to psychology here. Psychologists have found that our deeply held beliefs about who we are literally dictate our actions. For example, take the phrase, "I want to get fit." That's a desire, right? It implies a struggle, this big gap between where you are and where you desperately want to be. But the phrase, "I am someone who trains every day," now that is an identity. And human beings are psychologically hardwired to act consistently with their identity. If you deeply believe you're undisciplined, you're going to subconsciously find ways to prove yourself right. But if you adopt a new identity, the action becomes almost automatic. It creates this totally fascinating self-reinforcing loop. Here's how it works. Step 1, your new identity, like saying, "I am a writer."
creates the behavior of actually sitting down to write. Step 2, that behavior creates tangible results. You literally have written pages in front of you. And step 3, those results prove to your brain that you really are a writer, which strongly reinforces the whole identity. When you change who you believe you are at your core, your actions just naturally fall right into place.
So let's get into the nuts and bolts in part 4, building your discipline system. So how do we take all this heavy biology and psychology and turn it into something we can actually use? Well, first things first, you've got to abandon the all or nothing mindset. It's a trap. Most people fail because they start entirely too big. They're like, tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m., hit the gym, meditate, and read 50 pages. And it lasts exactly 3 days. True discipline does not grow through intensity. It grows through consistency. Doing 1 push-up today becomes 10 next month. Every single small promise you keep builds trust with yourself. And that internal trust, that is the absolute bedrock of discipline.
And this brings us to what is basically the ultimate cheat code used by highly successful people. We call it the environment secret. Listen, discipline is not about resisting temptation. It's about eliminating it entirely. If you are sitting there constantly using your willpower to fight off distractions, I guarantee you will eventually lose. Your environment will always beat your willpower in the long run. Always. You've got to design your surroundings to make your good habits effortlessly easy and your bad habits annoyingly hard. Want to read more? Don't just make a mental note to read. Physically put a book right on your keyboard so you have to move it to start working. Want to stop the mindless scrolling? Hide those apps off your home screen so they aren't the very first thing you see. Want to stop hitting snooze? Put your phone completely across the room so you literally have to stand up to turn it off. The easier the good habits become, the less discipline you actually even need to do them.
So as we bring all these pieces together, I want you to remember this incredibly empowering concept from our source material. You are casting votes for the person you're becoming. Every single decision you make either strengthens your discipline or it weakens it. Every workout, every page you read, every small promise you keep. Discipline isn't built in some giant dramatic movie montage moment. It is built in the ordinary, super quiet moments, just repeated consistently over time. With every tiny action, you're casting a vote for your future self.
Knowing how this whole system works is really just step 1. But now that you actually understand the psychology of self-discipline, the real question is, what vote are you going to cast for your future self today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to go cast that first vote right now. See you next time.